Hey guys, so I wanted to jump on here today to talk about The Fabelmans. This is the latest movie written and directed by Steven Spielberg, co-written by Tony Kushner. And this is actually a representation of Steven Spielberg's youth, his adolescence. This is basically the closest thing we're ever going to get from him in terms of a memoir. And I thought it was really special and really spectacular. I had a really good time watching The Fabelmans. It's about 2.5 hours long, but to be honest with you, I don't even feel the runtime. I'm too busy just really, enamored by just his experiences as a kid and just things that he went through in his personal life. While this movie may not pertain to everybody, because this is a movie about a young filmmaker who is aspiring to be a director, and I understand that's not the goal for everybody. So, of course, if you know me, this movie is like a dream to me because, again, we get to see a young director in training. And as you know, Steven Spielberg is one of the most acclaimed directors of our time. I just really appreciated the honesty in this movie. It's not so much only about his vision to be a director. We get to see a lot of the personal stuff. His upbringing as a young Jewish boy and moving around a lot with parents that are not necessarily always, seeing eye to eye, a mother who deals with mental health struggles, a father who's too busy with his work and too busy focused on basically like the American dream that he doesn't really appreciate his son's pursuits and his happiness and his joy. He looks at his son's fields. In this movie, his name is not Steven, his name is Sammy, because this is kind of, they say like a loosely based representation of it, but this is really just Steven Spielberg kind of using a different name to kind of explain the story and tell that story forward of his own personal experiences. But his father is so, with the idea that, you go to work, you make a living, you provide, that's how you do it. He kind of looks at filmmaking as more of a hobby as opposed to a career. And we get to see that dynamic and the differences in, how he views that with his dad. And it's a really interesting thing because if you are somebody who's been passionate about something and wanted something for so long, it doesn't matter if it's filmmaking or something else, but your family has a differing point of view in terms of your career choice, maybe you will relate. I will happily say that as somebody who aspires to be an actor and a director, my parents were very supportive. My dad still is to this day. And my mom, she was my number one fan. She always believed in that I could do it. She knew that storytelling was just a part of who I was. It's just part of my existence, whether that was on screen, behind screen, for a book, anything. I love to tell stories. She never questioned it. Neither does my dad. So I was I'm in a very fortunate position to where my family didn't look at that as like a pipe dream. In some cases, some parents maybe just don't understand right from the beginning. What I love about this movie is that it gives you a very clear understanding of just how some parents view it at first. Eventually, maybe they'll come to that concept of that, there's more to this than it just being a hobby. And I love that Steven Spielberg is able to kind of really just reminisce and bring us in like a deeper look into what he experienced moving around a lot. At some point, actually not even wanting to pursue directing for a while. There was a point where I think just maybe life catching up with him as an adolescent, experiencing, just growing up as a kid. This is a really special coming of age story about just figuring out what it is you want to do. And ultimately being a director is what he wants to do. Of course, there are those in-betweens where it's like, do I want this? You're being persuaded enough by your family that maybe I don't want to do this. And I think it's really, really special. Again, I don't know if this movie is going to cater to everybody. Of course, to me, it was wonderful, and I do want to watch it again. I think it's a beautiful movie, and I do recommend that everybody go and check it out. Not everyone is going to see this movie, but I do hope that you do, just in terms of, even if you're not again, like I was mentioning earlier, you may not be a filmmaker at heart, but if you are somebody who has a passion, a dream to do something bigger, to kind of go above and beyond in a field that maybe some people just don't quite understand, or in an area that you just really want to see happen, this movie is going to give you that ounce of confidence, even more so than you actually felt before. So it kind of speaks to everybody, not just filmmakers alone. While it may focus on that, this movie will actually, I think, inspire a lot of people just to go for what they really, really want. So yeah, The Fabelmans, I think, is a beautiful movie, and I recommend it so much, wholeheartedly. I think it is wonderfully told. The acting in this movie is terrific. I'm blanking on the young kid's name who plays the teenage Steven Spielberg, but he does a phenomenal job. His parents, Paul Dano and Michelle Williams, in this are incredible. Michelle Williams in particular, for what she had to, battle with, because her character, like I mentioned earlier, kind of deals with some mental health struggles. She does a fabulous job here. And not that I list the Oscars as like the ending for any acting performance, because that's not what you do movies for, but I do feel like because that they exist, I do hope that they recognize her for her work in this movie. It is spectacular. But yeah, that is my review for The Fabelmans. I do hope that you check it out. Like I said, it's a beautiful movie, and I can't wait to watch it again. And I just encourage everyone to go and see it, because it's not just about dreams and passion. It's about truth and trial, and you see, family dynamics and differences and right and wrong and all this other stuff. And just, again, a beautiful coming of age story that I do hope people check out. Yeah, there are parts of it that may not always seem like they need to be there, but I still respect it regardless, because it's just how life looks like. It's a slice of life no matter how we view it. Even the parts that may not feel as important. I think it's a beautiful movie all around. So yeah, if you have seen the movie, leave your comment down below. I'd love to know what you thought, and let's talk about it. But other than that, I recommend The Fabelmans.